I'm AK.
And I'm Umbi.
And you're watching The Zoo, only on LATV.
Buddha approved.
Welcome to The Big Deal. This is The Zoo, and this is The Zoo's Big Deal.
Today.
All right, so apologies if you're watching a rerun of this episode way far down the road when we find out who the president is. This was being shot just a couple days after the election, so nothing's resolved.
We don't really know what's going to happen.
We're suspecting this is going to drag on for a while.
Someone's going to sue someone. One party's going to sue the other.
Exactly. So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think about democracy? Is democracy working? Is it not working? Is this the way democracy works?
I don't even know if we know, like, the definition of democracy in modern day America. You know what I mean? Like,
what is democracy? I mean, look, the popular vote, for sure, Biden's winning the popular vote.
Yeah, okay.
So should we have the popular vote instead of electoral college? Or there's some people that it's like, no, but then the cities have to get to dictate what the rest of the country and the farmers do. I don't know.
I don't know. It's all over the place. And the thing is, we also don't just have two parties. Why is it always these two parties coming against each other? You know?
Well, no, they make it. I mean, there's other parties, but there really is only two parties.
Yeah, because the popular vote makes it into those two parties. You know, so.
Well, no. The electoral college is what makes it so that you got to be one or the other to win the electoral college.
The electoral college.
If we just had like a runoff.
Like of all these parties.
Of everybody.
Yeah.
And you have a runoff, and then the general election is like the top three people. There's actually a system.
That's the way it's supposed to work, right?
Well, that's the way it works in California. But then what happens is sometimes you'll get the top two will be like two Democrats, right? And then and then the Republicans are like, we got gypped because. So some people are saying they want to come up with a system.
Okay.
Where there's a runoff and the top three. And by the way, I brought some of the humidity from Florida, so excuse the sweat drops.
He brought it with him, yo. We didn't ask
it's
for
hot.
it.
It's hot and humid, which is not unlike LA.
You're not a Miami native anymore.
I know,
you
but
can't
it feels like Miami today. So there's a system that people are talking about where they're saying you should have a general runoff, and then you have the top three. Typically, you'll have at least one person in those top three that will be from either side, conservative, Republican, or Democrat, liberal, whatever.
And the other two.
And then you get two votes, because what happens is, let's say in a state like California. You get the top three, and there'll be two Democrats and one Republican.
Okay.
But then the Democrats split their vote, and then the Republicans who don't actually represent the majority, he wins. So
because
they're saying you
split.
get two votes, and you get to vote for the top two among the three, and then whoever gets the most votes that way is who wins. That's a different system. I forget what it's called. Look it up.
That's crazy. So what do you think about democracy today?
Look, I'm a very independent, I'm a liberal. I've supported Democrats for most of my life, but I vote for a lot of independent people. I vote for a lot of third-party people just because I want to break up this two-party system.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I feel like people who are wealthy or whatever tend to go for Republicans because I guess their interests are covered.
They get protected.
Right? And so then, like, everybody else is like Democrat, but also the Democrats, like, don't help the middle class. And so the middle class is like, who's going to help us out here?
The Democrats used to help the
neither
middle
party is all inclusive of that party or that class or that class.
Right.
Like,
and you gotta pick a team. But I hope look, for me, I just hope democracy, is the winner here. I hope every vote is counted.
I hope democracy stays a democracy in that it's not Republicans or Democrats, but like
future.
People have a voice no matter what after this election. All right.
Yeah.
That's what. You okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Need some water?
Wait. Eddie, if you want to cut it out, you cut this part out. If not, use it. So, I mean, you know what it is that politics makes me sweat.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
It's like a steamy 90s love movie when they used to have the lovemaking scene. That wasn't like a comedy.
Yeah. We're actually going to joke around that this is our wedding pictures, right? If we get caught.
Yes. If we get caught, because we're shooting at the wonderful Yamashiro, who gave us permission.
Place.
They gave us permission to shoot here, but we told them.
But if all fails,
we kind of told them it was our wedding.
You guys are actually
but they're
watching.
like, yeah, you have permission. So what was I saying here? Well, look, here's the silver lining. If Biden comes out on top.
Okay.
Kamala Harris will be the first female and black vice president.
Vice president. Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, she'll probably end up being the first female president.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she's got a good vibe about her. So we'll see what happens. But I just hope that this country comes together and hangs out, has a beer or a milkshake or some green tea, depending on what you like.
We all need to go on a shrooms trip together.
Well, actually, let's talk about some of the positives that came out of this.
Okay, what are
a bunch of new states legalized marijuana.
Oh, they did, yeah, like the East Coast, right?
New Jersey. What else? Auda, you're very into.
I think it was Oregon or Colorado.
No, Oregon decriminalize
Yeah,
all drugs.
all drugs.
As long as you have a small possession. So
you gotta understand, our people get criminalized for this. And
big time.
sometimes,
Big
you know
time.
what I mean?
Well, that's one of the things is that so many black and brown people are in jail right now for drug offenses.
Right.
Okay, and drug offenses that if you have money and typically, you know, like if you're come from like a wealthier, you know, non-white community and you can afford a good lawyer, you typically get off of these.
Money,
but
you know?
if you come from an underprivileged background and stuff like that, and you're black and brown, you typically don't get off of these drug charges. So now Oregon is saying if you get caught with a small amount of drugs, you're fine. And I think they decriminalized mushrooms. So I think you can grow mushrooms. Look this up. I don't know. You can grow mushrooms in Oregon.
Yeah.
Which I think psychedelics like marijuana, like cannabis. I think of cannabis as psychedelic. I think they can be used the right way, but that's.
Yeah. I mean, it's used medicinally, right? CBD?
Have you ever used mushrooms medicinally?
No.
Have you ever? But you've used cannabis, or you don't want to admit because your parents watch the show.
Yeah, exactly.
What a good Mexican girl. So you're.
Wait, it's not criminal. Don't criminalize. It's don't. It starts with an I. Incriminate. Don't incriminate me on national television.
Oh, that's fine. Well, you can't incriminate yourself. You can always plead the fifth. So what they're saying basically in Oregon is that if you get caught with a small amount of drugs, no matter what drugs those are, they give you a citation, and then they basically assign you to rehab. So you do get cited,
okay.
and you might even have to pay a fine. And if you have like harder drugs and you're a repeat offender, you might get, the state might force you into a rehab. So there's a.
That's like moving into the right direction, though.
It's
You know,
definitely
because
moving
sometimes
into the
people
right
are
direction.
actually stuck doing these kind of things.
Okay, so look, we're getting the wrap. So,
America, we
all
wish
in
you
all-
well. We wish you well, America.
yes, all in all. So all in all, hopefully we're not watching the series finale of the United States of America.
Oh my.
Hopefully this isn't the series finale. Hopefully this goes on.
There's a meme where it's like stronger empires have fallen because America's only like 200 years old.
That's true.
You know.
Okay.
So maybe we're going under our what is it? Tantrum twos, I think. You know what I'm talking about?
Our terrible twos.
Our terrible twos. We're going through our terrible twos at the moment. But,
Our insufferable twos.
but we're gonna be three. You know.
We're gonna
Let's move towards the threes.
Let's all come together and figure it out. We can do it. Yay, we're America. All right, we'll be right back after this right here on the Zoo because you talked to Isabela Merced.
I did. So that's coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Keep it locked. Welcome back to the Zoo, and we are here in front of one of the Black Lives Matter murals on Hollywood Boulevard, right?
One of many, yeah, one of many.
And this is one of the cool ones that has all the different colors and stuff. It's actually very beautiful. And then the Black Lives Matter.
Down on the pavement, on the street.
We get down on the pavement. So coming up next, though, you have a interview with...
Yes, Isabela Merced. She released her latest single with Dana Paola from Elite, y'all. All right, so Dana Paola's, becoming a musician, out there jamming and stuff. So they collaborated. Their video is super dope, and it's funny. And
Wait, hold on. Before you toss to that, did you watch Dora the Explorer when you were a little kid?
yeah, I did actually.
Did you want to be Dora? Were you ever Dora for Halloween?
No, I hated Dora.
Why?
'Cause when it would ask you the questions, like, what do you think? Map, what road should we take? And I'm like, it's stupid. It's so obvious.
Well, you ended up at Berkeley.
I was a little
so
too smart for that show. You know what I'm
What
saying?
about the Go Diego Go? Were they related?
I think they're related.
Okay, next
Maybe?
Halloween I'm gonna be Diego and you be Dora.
And Dora. All right, cool. Are we
Okay, but
gonna
let's
gonna jump on vines and
Yes.
stuff and like just?
Okay, all right, here's a little dance I just created. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2. So watch AK interviewing who?
Isabela
From where?
Merced.
On this thing. What coming up right here.
Pero bueno, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Dónde estás en el mundo?
I'm the one asking the questions. I want to know about you.
Wait, what? You're interviewing me?
I love your energy, girl. My name is AK, and I'm here with the one and only Isabela, la que trae la candela.
La que prende la candela.
La que prende. It's part of your aura at that point.
Yeah, I'm literally about to get a tattoo, like, de una candela. No sé si va a ser in my, like, arm or my ankle or I don't know, behind my ear maybe, quizás, no sé. Pero me encanta, I like what it represents. Actually, the session where I wrote Don't Go in 2018, that was the session where I came up with the phrase Isabela prende la candela con Mauricio y Andrés. Do you know them? Son unos productores muy talentosos. So we work together a lot, and every session we write a song in like 20 minutes. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned right now 2018, but I feel like 2019 and 2020 has really been the year where you've been pushing out all this music.
I have a huge freaking catalog of music that I just like have on my iPhone, just here and I haven't released most of it.
Okay, well, girl, you have an amazing acting career behind you too. Like you were Dora, right, in the movie that just came out in 2019 too. So you have your acting career that is like gonna get better for sure. We full support behind you. You have your music career now that is also being pushed forward. How do you feel in this moment? Like, is there a direction you want to go? Are you focusing on one more than the other?
I would say that I don't feel as busy as I thought I would feel. Then again, tengo más tiempo libre durante la cuarentena, and like I am so in a way grateful for the cuarentena because I wouldn't have had so much time to focus on my music. Like I was going from job to job to job to job, nonstop, movie to movie, and I wasn't really living my life. I didn't really have a balance. I didn't care at the time because I was like, oh, I'm booked and busy. This is good. I like this. But I wasn't really spending time on my music. So like just getting to just slow down and live my life, live the experiences that I need to live in order to write about something and have something to write about. Like they just literally, like I had someone literally just cheat on me the other, like not too long ago during quarantine. So I'm really living, I'm out here living, you know, I wasn't doing that before. So, you know, as much as I'm saying I'm grateful for it, it's just life. I'm just glad that life is happening to me now. And I'm not like so much in charge of it as I used to be.
You really haven't even have to sit with the feelings.
And como que yo soy un cáncer, I'm a Cancerian. I love time at home. So
Okay.
me encanta recargar, pasar mucho más tiempo en la casa, watch my shows, play with my dogs. Like they're absolute crackheads. I love them though, and they make my life so much better.
That's you socializing right there, just with the dogs.
Yeah.
I feel that. All right, well, girl. Well, let's get into your hot new track, the new single, "Don't Go," which you did collaborated with Dana Paola.
Yeah.
You said you wrote this song 2 years ago, but what was the inspiration behind that song?
Bueno, it was completely different. I'm not gonna lie. Like the chorus was different. Yeah, I told you I wrote it with Mauricio Andres. We came up with my phrase. And then after 2 years of like doing nothing with the song, again, I have un montón de canciones en mi celu right now that I want to just leak them all, you know, but patience, paciencia y fe. And I guess was going over songs like during quarantine. I was bored. I was like, what do we do? Let's look for some inspiration. What are my old sounds? What can I incorporate? And I found it and I was like, this kind of slaps. Like if we can rewrite the chorus a little bit, let's like put a little feature in it. It was only gonna be a small feature, but it ended up being like La Dana Paola. And you know, the reason why I thought of Dana Paola is because I was obsessed with Elite at the beginning of cuarentena. I love Lucrecia. I love the drama. It also like, I love like listening to the jergas that they have in Spain, like joder, tío. You know, I love that, like the lisp and everything. So I was obsessed with Elite and I was obsessed with her. So I was like, Dana Paola y yo tenemos un montón en común. Like we have so much, like we have the acting, the singing. I was like, this is perfect. So I reached out to her over DM and I sent her the song and she loved it. She sent me her verse and I was like, bro, this is crazy. She literally has a bar in there that goes, deja de buscar alemanas, latinas, sabor peruana, mexicana. And I was like, that's insane. Like, I'm so impressed right now. And it was exactly what we needed in the song. So then we got into the planning of the music video, and that in itself was so fun. Like, crazy how life imitates art, and the song applies to my life so perfectly now. Like, I envisioned my fantasy of what I would be doing at my ex's house if he ever cheated on me with another girl and I wanted to get some revenge. Like, this is all like what I would have loved to do, but I don't because I'm always going to be the bigger person or whatever. But I would love to do that. So this was my fantasy, and Dana was that girl who like is like, "Wey, estás loca, pero te apoyo no matter what. Like, let's do this. Let's sabotage your ex's life." And yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's crazy that you wrote the song 2 years ago and it's relevant to your like personal life, right? What?
I didn't think I had been cheated on yet, and yeah, I wrote a song about that. I don't know, like I love to like get my feelings hurt before they're actually hurt. Like I'm the type to like stalk somebody and get myself in some like heat for just like looking to. I find exactly what I wanted to find, but then I'm like hurt over it because I found it. I'd be hurting my own feelings sometimes.
That meme, huh?
I really do. I do this to myself.
So where was that shot?
At the Houdini mansion.
That was like beautiful.
Dude, that man is rich. Like, okay. Lo que pasó es que, you know, Laurel Canyon, like,
Yeah, here in LA.
that area in LA, like, they have all those mansions. Like, he had a house there, and then during the Laurel Canyon fires, it got burnt down. So the house that we were filming in, like, they sell it as like the Houdini mansion, but it's actually like the chauffeur's house, like the people that stay with him. But it's huge. It's equally, so I can't even imagine how big Houdini's actual mansion was, and considering this was just an extension of it. Beautiful property, and I've never dated a guy that rich, so I feel like that was false advertising. Like, I'm usually richer than the guys I date, but subtle flex. No, but it was nice to like fantasize that I was in this mansion of my ex and like just strutting around in this like trophy wife looking outfits and just sabotaging everything. So I thought it was like the perfect look for it. It's very tropical. Considering it was shot in LA, it looks like Miami.
No, I thought it was like somewhere in Latin America for sure. I was just like, yeah, where was that at? Like, I have never seen, I'm LA born and raised, and we're here in LA. So I was like, I have never seen something like that.
Well, you can go, you know, they got it on Airbnb, you can rent it for
There you go.
All right, we are back on the zoo, and are you a fan of The Walking Dead?
I haven't watched it actually. I heard it's good. How many seasons is it? You know what it is too though? I don't like watching shows while seasons are still coming out. I like for like shows to end. So you tell me if it has, so I can binge watch all the seasons.
But it's been like 7 years.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you right now.
You never
is that
saw the
next
first
show?
season?
No, I never saw the first season.
It was amazing.
Oh, I haven't.
I stopped watching the second season. I gotta be honest with you, because the thing is that like, how long are these zombies gonna be walking around?
Okay.
You know, it's been 7 years. Anyway.
How many seasons are there?
It's like 7 or 8, and then there's
That's
spin-offs.
crazy. Zombies come back,
right?
right.
And so there's a new Walking Dead with Nicolas Cantu.
Okay.
And I like him because he's like a very like, you know, U.S.-born Latino character that's not like overtly one way or the other, and it's basically kids. It's like a group of teenagers. It takes it back to like the 80s, almost like Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bunch of teenagers like fighting off zombies.
Okay.
And I don't know where they are.
That's kind of crazy.
But
Teenagers?
yeah. So
Would I survive an apocalypse? I don't even know
Do you
that.
think you'd survive an apocalypse?
I like to go camping a lot, so I know how to like, you know, cleanse water from a river.
Really?
Like, yeah, I know
How?
how to put up a tent. You gotta get the little filters before you go.
Okay, so-
And you also have to boil it, you know, so you gotta set up a campfire, boil the water.
You gotta boil the poop away.
Yeah,
The beaver poop.
yeah, exactly.
Do you ever?
Maybe I could survive actually, you know what?
No, you would. You went to Berkeley.
Okay.
Can you? Do you ever camp out under a tree like this?
No.
Okay.
I mean, in a tree. Yeah.
Nicolas Cantu from The Walking Dead coming up right here.
We're 10 years in now. 10 years. And the dead still have this world.
You really think the world's gonna end?
I know it is.
All right, guys, I have a very special in-studio guest, Nicolas Cantu from The Walking Dead World Beyond. All right, so I've been a big fan of the series since the first season. You know, I've read a lot of the comic books. This is one of the most successful franchises of all time when it comes to television and, you know, sci-fi and all that stuff. What happens on this spin-off? What is this a spin-off? Is this in the same universe? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. This is Walking Dead World Beyond. We're the second spin-off in the Walking Dead universe. And first off, it feels like such an honor to join such a large property and to be a part of this world now. It's crazy. But in our show, we're going through an adventure through the eyes of teenagers. So as opposed to some of the other characters on The Walking Dead who are a little bit older, we provide a new perspective. Because when I was watching The Walking Dead, the character I would always tie myself to is Carl, because I was like 9 or 10 when the first show came out, and so I would always watch and be like, oh, I love Carl. So now it's like, I guess we can bring that relatability to a bunch of different kind of teenagers, and so our show is about this journey that they take across the country to find a very special person, and it's a fun ride, and I hope people enjoy it.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your character.
Elton Ortiz is a Latin teenager. He's 14 years old and he's an orphan of the apocalypse. Both of his parents were unfortunately killed the night everything went crazy. But he's very analytical, he's smart, he's kind of like the brains of the group. We have 4 teenagers going out on this journey and he's kind of like the brains of the operation.
You're playing yourself in that way?
Well, I guess you could say that. Thank you.
You sound like a smart guy.
Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, I brought some of myself into that character for sure. And it was just super fun to bring him to life. I love Elton.
We have to be brave in this life we have. Simply to exist now.
What lies ahead is not going to be easy, but we're going to make our lives count. Not because we're the last generation, because we're the beginning. But
Wow. Well, so you're watching a show like this growing up. Did it ever occur to you that, oh, you know, among the things I want to do is act, and this is a good show to act on. Maybe one day I'll act on a show like this, and now you're acting on the show.
the show
you
like
were
that.
watching.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know how to feel about it really, because it's such a big universe, and growing up watching it, it's like going from the perspective of viewer to now being a part of it and getting to know all the fans and the whole family that's around the show. It's been a crazy experience.
Let's get to know you a little bit more too. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in San Antonio, Texas. I was born in Austin, and we moved here to Los Angeles 5 years ago to pursue this little acting thing.
Do you consider yourself a Texas guy?
I'd say in some ways yes, and in some ways no. I've kind of lost a little bit of my Texas.
You got a California thing going on.
I think I do. I mean,
I think maybe you're more your birthplace. Maybe you're a little bit. You come off as a little more
Austin. Yeah,
than
Austin's like the California of Texas. But I used to say y'all a lot.
Okay.
And now being in California has turned more into like dude and dudes. You know, I mean, it's just growing up in different places. But I used to say y'all, and now it's gone away from me. I'm becoming a different person.
Well, what is it like to be a teen actor during COVID? Like, what are the auditions like? Are you guys going on auditions for potential shoots? Like, what's the industry going through?
I mean, first off, it's very, very slow. I'm definitely going crazy, not working as much as I used to. But when we do get auditions, usually it's done through Zoom or something like that, where you just prop up your phone, and it's not exactly like a self-tape where you just send in a video, because with that you can do multiple takes. It's just like a virtual meeting. But I haven't been on set for anything during COVID except for a voiceover project. And that was pretty nuts because it was only 2 engineers and me and my mom, and we went into the booth and they had like a new pair of headphones for every guy that came in, and they had to like sanitize everything. But I've never been on like a set for on-camera stuff, so I don't know how that is, but it's been pretty crazy. I mean, it's different times that we're living in.
Well, now you have a show that's going to be out featuring you, so that's good. You're going to be out there, so hopefully when things pick up, you're going to be on the minds of a lot of people.
I'm excited.
Yeah. ¿Habla español?
Sí, pues mi mamá me enseñó cómo hablar español.
Mira, tú sabes, mami, ven, ¿está cómoda venir para acá? Sí, mira, ponte al lado de tu hijo.
Come on.
Sí.
Entonces mi mamá me enseñó cómo hablar español y ella... ¿A dónde naciste? ¿La Ciudad de México?
Sí, habla para que te cojas. Sí.
Sí, yo nací en México, en la Ciudad de México.
Sí. Y se criaron en Texas.
Sí.
Sí, bueno, más bien Nicolás nació ahí, pero su hermano mayor nació en Chicago y el más chiquito en Miami.
Ah, sí, yo sé de Miami.
Nos mudábamos.
Ah, qué padre.
¿Qué tuviste en tu hijo cuando era niño, chiquito, que te te fijaste que él tenía talento como actor?
Yo quiero oír eso.
Sí.
¿Qué viste?
Te lo he dicho. Pues mira, tenía 7 años y se paró enfrente de una cámara y era muy natural, o sea, no le tenía miedo a la cámara, no nada. Otra cosa es que se aprendía los diálogos rapidísimo, o sea, los scripts y todo eso que tenía que hacer. Se los aprendía de una manera increíble, o sea, en 2 segundos. A esa edad hizo un video como para
Fue
una
comercial
compañía de San Antonio con muchas palabras, fue en inglés, con muchas palabras grandes y todo, ¿no? Entonces, como que hablaba sin prompt, sin nada, se aprendió todo de memoria, como que le vi el talento, y además fue MC de un show para los Spurs. Y era
sí,
una
los San
cosa
Antonio Spurs,
chiquita
sí.
De San Antonio Spurs. Y él enfrente de 500 personas haciendo el AMC, la cámara volando en su cara, o sea, todo como que muy normal, no se ponía nervioso, no nada. Entonces eso como que ahí
No
vi el
podían decir, no,
potencial.
porque tú eres la mamá y tú crees que tu hijo es perfecto, pero la verdad, no. Todo el mundo puede ver que él sí
Todo mundo.
tiene el talento. Dude, you're an amazing guy. You have an amazing mom. I can't wait to check out this season of Walking Dead, The World Beyond. It seems really cool. It really does seem like a whole different chapter, you know, with a whole new way to look at things. And I think you got some big things on the horizon.
Thank you so much, man.
Stay healthy, and thanks for being here on LATV.
There's a big, beautiful world waiting for you out there. Go. Fight for it. Be brave.
Coming up after the break, I interview the documentarians behind Blood on the Wall.
Oh, dope.
It's no laughing matter.
Oh.
Stay locked on the Zoom. Welcome back to the zoo, and coming up next, I talked to the documentary filmmaker behind the documentary Blood on the Wall, which is a
What is
Nat
that?
Geo. They basically follow the caravan. And do you remember 2017, 2018?
Oh, yeah.
They got with the caravan. They were able to follow some of the people, so you get to see some of the people that are joining the caravan, that trying to cross over here looking for a better life.
Oh, that's wild.
You know,
I do remember that.
But they also talk about the drug trade in Mexico. So they also interview like people that are connected to the cartel.
No
people that are
way.
affected. Yeah. The
Okay.
filmmakers almost got killed making this movie.
That's okay. That's some serious journalism right there.
It is real serious journalism. I mean, honestly, people know National Geographic is some of the best journalism around the world.
Definitely.
So I got to talk to the filmmaker. His name is Nick Junger. Not that I was thinking about that. I wanted to make sure I pronounced it right.
Right.
So check this out, Blood on the Wall, here on the Zoo.
Yo vine por eso, por tener un futuro, ya dejar todo el sufrimiento que hemos pasado.
Hoy se tiene previsto otra caravana que llegue a la frontera de Guatemala con México.
Incredible documentary. You guys are right in the middle of a historical moment. You know, the access and what you're covering and the human stories that you were able to capture were incredible. Tell me a little bit about how this documentary came together.
So we had an idea from the very beginning of trying to understand the push factors and present how Mexico had got to where it is now by looking at its history. So we knew migration was one of these issues. Like we wanted to examine push factors for migration. So we spent a lot of time researching different families, but we were actually in Actial, and we met with La Mesa from Actial about, you know, because Actial is a very important moment in modern Mexican history as well, because there was a massacre where 38 people were murdered. And so we were there, and then we immediately had to leave and drive from San Cristobal in the mountains of Chiapas to the coast. And, you know, you can't just drive straight there because it's Mexico. So you had to go all the way around. You know, it was one of those things that, you know, it was our third day in production, and we promised Nat Geo that we'd never travel at night. And, well, we traveled at night.
Solo porque seamos migrantes no quiere decir que somos delincuentes.
Pues sí sé que es delito, pero ¿cómo lo vamos a sacar el dinero para comprar ropa de los chamacos?
Talk to me about the kind of people that we see in this documentary. Can you describe some of the people that you're focusing on?
On the caravan, we actually followed 5 families, but in the edit, it came down to 2. And so the first was Ludi, and Ludi was 17 at the time. She was with a group of friends from San Pedro Sula, from her neighborhood. And Ludi left San Pedro Sula because she was being harassed by a guy from the Maras who has actually raped her. And so we followed Ludi all the way through. We gave her a camera, and a lot of the footage that you see in the film is footage that Ludi and her boyfriend shot together. And then we also focused on a family, an extended family, Sauro and Charol, and their children. And we actually had been talking to Sauro and Charol beforehand because they were in an albergue in Tapachula. And so they'd already crossed into Mexico when we picked them up. And we even followed them as they cross into the United States to claim asylum protection.
The problem is ultimately political. What agencies are responsible for fighting crime? And the answer is no one.
Es
This is a country where 98% of crimes are never solved.
Defenderse ellos mismos a que esté aquí la policía.
How does the drug trade connect with the caravan, or were there two separate stories that you were basically putting into, the umbrella of what's going on in Mexico?
I don't think the drug trade was actually using the caravan per se, but it's impossible to separate the politics of narcotics and American foreign policy from the push factors that are pushing migrants north. Nothing's monocausal in this world. So if you were to examine the issue of migration and leave the politics of narcotics alone, you'd be missing, half the story. Just to look at Mexico again would be naive. All the borders that are in Central America are colonial designations, and even the southern border. Remember, the southern border is a modern border. The Mexican-American War moved the border to where it is now. But it never was like that. And we touch on the legacy of the Mexican-American War, but it's very raw in Mexico. It's the war that America never remembered and Mexico never forgot.
No hay mucho de qué sobrevivir, de qué mantenerse. Es lo que hay y es lo que tienes que hacer.
Cuando tus amigos son asesinados, aparecen, la gente empieza a organizarse con los medios que tiene.
Y ojalá espero que cambie mi vida.
They should turn back now.
¿Tienen miedo? Sí.
How do you want perceptions in the United States to change about the situation across the border?
I'd like people to, there's been such polarizing rhetoric from the government that I'd like people to watch the film and understand what the circumstances are for people in Central America and Mexico and what's driving them north. But ultimately, the root cause of migration is the corruption of the Central American governments, whether it's Bukele, whether it's Hernandez, whether it's Morales in Guatemala. These guys are all the lapdogs of Americans and trained in La Escuela de America. Like the fear of communism transcends the fear of corruption. And they continue to support these regimes that siphon off all the aid that is going. It's systematic. It's not, people in Central America don't even think of it as corruption. They think of it as the way of life. You're going to get pulled over by the police. You pay your 100 lempiras to avoid the ticket. It's just things are done differently. And until there's some type of rule of law and there's some type of accountability by the paragons of the countries, then there's not going to be much change.
Nick, thank you so much, and congrats on an amazing project, Blood on the Wall on Nat Geo. I'm going to watch it again.
Thank you so much.
Coming up after the break, we talk to Wilmer Valderama. Or is it Wilbur?
We're gonna find out.
After the break.
What is up, y'all? We're back here on the zoo. Who are we talking to next?
Wilmer, not
Wilbur.
Okay.
Wilmer.
So, Wilmer's done a lot for the Latino community.
Okay. What is he doing now?
I think he's talking to some charity about like hearts and stuff. Maria, I mean, you know about this, Aura. Can you tell us what Maria talked to Wilmer about?
I think it is like a heart foundation.
Okay, the Heart Foundation.
Yeah.
And that might not be the name. We're going to find out now when we talk to the second.
Yeah.
But what do you think about Wilmer Valderama as a person, as a Venezuelan? Is he Venezuelan? We have
Absolutely.
Yes, he is. You didn't know that? We have a Venezuelan behind the camera.
He
She
is
doesn't.
Venezuelan.
Aura.
You know what? Only because Aura made arepas for us this morning to, I believe
You
fully.
made
I believe
arepas
fully in her Venezuelan.
with cornmeal
I'm not
and
gonna
cheese.
take that card away, but I think Wilmer is Venezuelan.
He is. and he's also very charitable, and we're gonna find out just how charitable coming up in this segment. Check it out.
We started this campaign with the National Kidney Foundation called "Are You the 33%?" And then we developed something really amazing that I thought everyone should really know about. If you go to minuteforyourkidneys.org, right? You can take a 1-minute quiz, and it'll immediately tell you if you're in the high risk category, which then will give you a roadmap of what to do next, right? And we'll give you all the ideas on what to do in that scenario. So minuteforyourkidneys.org, super important that you go there and take it.
That's amazing, because you don't have to, because a lot of I feel the Latino population have a higher risk because they don't go to the doctors as much. Maybe they don't have insurance. So being able to check that just online, like without having to pay a visit to the doctor, I think that makes a huge difference.
For sure. And also checking out all those boxes that if you are in those high risk categories, and if you may possibly be in the category of the possibility of having kidney disease, then you have to be a little extra careful when you're out and about. You have to be a little extra careful with what you do with your nutrition, specifically if you're going to stores.
With the tequila, not much tequila.
Not too much tequila, even though pandemic called for a lot of that connoisseuring. A lot of people were drinking whatever they wanted. So I think that's important, and you got to help yourself and be ready just you never know.
Even little things that, you won't die from it. Like, for instance, having kidney stones. It's one of the most common things ever. My dad had kidney stones, right. And it's super painful. And, it's really super avoidable if you know how your kidney works. And so you don't really need to stay in pain.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we also have never been taught that there's things in your nutrition that can do to clean it. To at least give it some, it's like any engine, you have to maintain your engine. You got to really look at all the parts and make sure they're functioning right. So then the engine can continue to perform at what you want, right? At whatever level you perform at, right? So I agree with you. It's 100% right that, there's certain things that are very preventable. But we Latinos have never been taught to focus on prevention. Right. We wait until something hurts. Like I said, so that's tough, but I think now that we're here in this country, that we have an ability to really be aware of things that normally we would not be exposed to back in our countries.
33% of American adults are at risk. And did you know that diabetes and high blood pressure, which also happen to run in my family, put you at higher risk? In just a minute, you can find out if you're at risk for kidney disease too. Take our quiz at minuteforyourkidneys.org.
Do you have the right stuff?
I don't know. I came to ask the Buddha, actually.
He has the right stuff. So does Dennis. And we're going to find out just how much right stuff he has after this. All right, guys, we are back. We're here in the Hollywood Hills. AK's being a Hollywood starlet.
While in Hollywood.
Do you have the right stuff?
What are you talking about?
Well, Dennis coming up.
What type of right stuff?
Well, we'll see. Okay. So some kind of right stuff, yay. Some kind of right stuff, maybe nay.
Okay.
All right. So Dennis coming up, he talks to the stars of the right stuff, and the right stuff is about the first astronauts ever, like back in the 50s and 60s.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah.
Where it was basically a lot of like Air Force pilots and like people that were like breaking the sound barrier, and they were like, all right, guys, you're gonna be the first people we send out into outer space, and we don't know if you're gonna blow up or disintegrate.
We've never done this before. Yeah. Never explored space before.
No,
that's crazy. So they had to have the right stuff.
That was what they were saying.
Okay,
we're gonna find out who has the right stuff. A lot of people don't know this, but before we sent the first astronauts to the moon, we lost 3 to 4 astronauts in training.
Oh, no way.
The first 2 guys. Okay, so it wasn't supposed to be Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin.
Wasn't it the Russians who were actually sending people to space?
The Russian they were the first to go into space.
Okay.
They sent one guy into space, and that's why we started racing. Then we sent the guy named Glenn
that's the
something.
Whole war started.
But then we wanted to beat them to the moon. So here's the thing: the first 2 guys that were supposed to step onto the moon died in training. Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong were their backups, FYI. So you have to have the right stuff. So we're gonna find out more about that through Dennis. I'm sure Dennis is all into space, or is he into spacemen? Actually, Eddie, cut that out. That was a bad joke. Check it out.
All righty, guys. Welcome to LA TV. How you doing over there?
We're good, man.
I've really enjoyed watching this show. I mean, it is like my new addiction, and I just feel the tension between the 2 leading men on this show. And I'm just wondering, was it difficult to, I guess, be on set? Because honestly, with the kind of tension that your characters have, I would think that you guys would want to strangle each other.
It's true, we can't stand each other. Even being in a Zoom is difficult for us. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was. I think I was cast first, and as soon as I was cast, I was desperate to find out who was going to be playing Alan Shepard, so that we could get to work. It was really important in order for us to capture, I think, that level of animosity and competition was for us to get to know each other quickly and like get on the same page, which I think Jake and I did really quickly. Jake's so talented and comes to work like so fully like ready to go. And so we got to get together as soon as he was cast. We got together, we started comparing notes, we started sharing research, and by the time we got onto set, we felt very, very safe to support each other in whatever decisions we wanted to go in, and not make it about either one of our acting choices or what we were trying to accomplish, but how we could best tell this story and make sure that their level of competition and animosity we really captured.
And you definitely feel that as a viewer. I love it.
Good.
I mean, to echo that a little bit too. I mean, Patrick was the first one cast, and all that is absolutely right. I think it would be an absolute nightmare to be stuck in actual animosity competition with a fellow actor. It wouldn't translate as anything but bad chemistry on in an actual scene.
And if you'd like to call your congressman to express your enthusiasm, we'd be real grateful, because this is a collective effort for God and for freedom.
Marveling at your hard work and ingenuity. Looks like one hell of a ride. Can't wait to get up there and kick the snot out of the Soviets for freedom. For God, also.
Nice. Now, Colin, I was reading that you're from Ireland, and for me being Latino, sometimes people pick up on my accent and they're like, "Oh, are you from here? Where are you from?" I'm like from the East Coast, but for you, has it been difficult to, I guess, conquer the American accent, and can you give us a little bit of that Irish twang so that we can hear it?
Well, I mean, I'll definitely give you the Irish twang because that's my voice. So yeah, so I'll sound like this. I mean, I'm sure probably Jake and Patrick will tell you that it was difficult for me to conquer the American accent, but I think.
Gordo, why are you here?
Where's your mom and girls?
Asleep. What are you doing here?
I have some news, and I need a big favor.
It's slightly different, I get asked that sometimes about accents and stuff, and it's, I grew up watching American TV and American movies, and so I'm just used to hearing an American accent, day in, day out, and I think that's something that made it easier to sort of to do. Gordo had a very specific accent in real life, and a specific way of speaking, and I didn't want to go full Oklahoma kind of accent. I just sort of wanted to give a hint of who he was, and it's great. What I find about accents is it's great to be able. It's a great way to sort of unlock a character and be able to take myself out of who that person is, and then fully invest myself into becoming a different character. And so I actually hate acting in my own voice because I feel like I'm giving too much of myself over to the character, and I don't really want to do that.
One of you came out in a scene with a towel on and you had sick abs. Which one of you was it? And how much training went into that? Because I know that takes a lot of work.
I don't know.
No hamburgers from a month?
What's that?
Nope.
Yeah, nah. Just kind of, it's, I think, once I turned probably 25, fitness has been something that's a part of my life. It's a weird answer and question. And I figured kind of as I got older, it would only get harder. So, I think for a job like this, another part of it was that Alan Shepard and actually all the astronauts in the Mercury program had height requirements, weight requirements. And I don't mean to suggest I pulled some Christian Bale, method acting or anything. But, while being in Florida, having a lot of time in pre-production, I think, I thought, why not try to, get it as close to that frame as possible.
Guys, before we head out, I just want to have just a little bit of fun with you. I want to do a little true or false quickly with you guys and see which one of you guys are good at this. So I'm going to give you trivia real quick about 1961. Are you guys down?
Yeah, let's go.
Sure.
Okay. Electric toothbrushes were first introduced in 1961. True or false?
True.
False.
And somebody else has to answer.
Oh, I said
false. Oh, I said false.
Okay. Well, the answer is true, guys.
Ah.
The Flintstones was the #1 TV show of that year. True or false?
True.
False.
Oh, whoever answered false is correct because the #1 show was Wagon Train. And last but not least, Time Magazine's Man of the Year was President Eisenhower. True or false?
I'm going to say false. I said false first, so I'm going to say false.
Well, you guys got me because the answer is false. The Man of the Year was John F. Kennedy.
That makes sense. As the only American on this panel, I'm really embarrassed.
Guys, thank you so much for playing along. Best of luck with the show, and I hope to see you again for season 2.
All right, guys, they're sending the secret police for us. All right, we're not supposed to be filming.
us?
Yeah!
Oh,
All right, so you've been watching the zoo, guys. Keep it locked here every
bounce.
Monday through Thursday on LA TV, same time
Gotta bounce.
on the zoo. AK, say goodbye.
Bye. Peace.